life exists not only in the physical form, it exists in the astral form, in the light body form, and many higher, more advanced forms of vehicles of consciousness. So the question is, what truly counts in the afterlife? And how we can triumph from the difficulties of life to the eternity. Afterlife is a continuation from this biosuit body to another type of body, whether human or not, whether physical or not. Now we are on a evolving side of the scale because the soul chooses to begin experiencing physicality in the simplest physical forms, such as bacteria, and then progressing to the short-lived insects, and then more simpler forms of, let's say, fish or frog, and then advancing the complexity of biophysical vehicle into birds and more complex creatures such as dogs and cats are already very intelligent. They have a very distinct personality and character, and all the way until the soul is ready for a human lifetime, starting with, again, more simple human lives, tribal nature. Well, these days would be maybe somewhere in Africa or in some Asian countries, where still the tribal rules are set of a simple physical living, and then exploring more complex ways of being human with higher education, science, technology, and ultimately the most complex form of human being is you, their spiritual seeker, because you look beyond the skin and bones, beyond emotions and thoughts to discover your true eternal nature. So for a spiritual seeker, a physical body is only the means to the higher spiritual domains. So therefore, in the same equation applies what follows in the afterlife, that a more simpler human being of a tribal nature will most likely reincarnate into another tribal system because that is what they are familiar with. The one who has explored education or the Western way of living but hasn't yet touched spirituality will most likely continue where they left off. You see, the afterlife is simply a continuation. You continue where you left off. So this way, the soul progressively grows, accumulates experiences, and takes on more complex experiences physically, emotionally, mentally, and returning to the spiritual, higher spiritual nature. So what does truly count in the afterlife is what you do here for the afterlife. Afterlife meaning when you will drop the body. Let's say you set a goal and you achieved it. The soul simply learns how to achieve a goal. And it can be anything, simple or grand. Your drive to become better, to overcome limitations, obstacles, to learn the ways of successful society living, such as getting a good education, getting a good job, aspirations of family life, to find a partner, have some children. They're all humanly simple aspirations, which contribute a little bit to the soul, to the afterlife unfoldment. But what makes a big impact towards the next life incarnation? It is certainly not your worldly success. It is certainly not how many boyfriends, girlfriends you will have, how many babies you will make, how well you will raise your kids. It won't matter what jobs you will have, how much money you will accumulate, how many properties you will buy. It doesn't matter so much how artistic you will be, how many even virtues, living a virtuous life or being a good person. People been trying to be good people for thousands of years. And we know that that is part of duality. It is said so in the Bible. The tree of knowledge of good and evil, that's the most simple analogy, but in a larger extent, it is Brahman who brought the Vedas and instructions of good and bad, which helps for civilization to be oriented towards good and not to accumulate more bad karma. But only being good will not liberate you. So what does truly count for the afterlife? In the biggest sense, it is meeting a guru, a teacher, a guide. When that happens, your troubles are the troubles of the guru. Your obstacles and limitations will be overcome, your karma will be burned off. You will surely realize many things and you will be uplifted to the highest heavens possible for your soul to rise up to. You see, the common spiritual awakening is also important. There are millions of people who are spiritually awakened to the inner light, which is great. It's a small step forward. And then they explore their chakras. Some open up their kundalini more intensely. This is still just the next step from being a biophysical human body and now bridging the gap to the energy body. So in the afterlife, in the next lifetime, reincarnation is quite assured, and biophysical bodies is also quite assured. If we look at the large universal scale, there are many civilizations living in 5D, even 6D. They also have physical bodies, many of them. There are many civilizations who have physical bodies, but they're also opened up their energy bodies. They're living in synchronicity, in harmony, in a biophysical body and energy body. And they also have their problems. We think that in 5D there are no problems. There are many problems in 5D. I could speak about this for hours and hours of the problems of 5D, the problems of 6D life forms and 7D life forms. So we have to drop this illusion, fantasy, and imagination, idealization that in 5D it's all love and light. The way that reality works is evolution. growth, ascension, overcoming obstacles, limitations, to open your soul and your spirit, to liberate your soul and your spirit. And for some people, the ideal afterlife is to meet their loved ones. For others, is to leave the earth to another star cluster, the most popular ones. Now, when you ask yourself truly, what would you wish to be after this life on earth? There is a Buddhist story how a monk was meditating upon enlightenment, but then he saw a deer in the woods and he got so amazed at the grace of the deer in the woods. He got so captured by the simplicity of life of a deer that next lifetime he became a deer. He thought he wants enlightenment, but what he truly wanted is something simple, graceful, and not complicated. And he became a deer. So sometimes what we think we want is not exactly what we truly want. Now, it's very rare to go back to a more primitive life form. That is not common unless it is really wanted, really intended, like in this story of a Buddhist monk. Most likely family dragged him, to become a Buddhist monk. And then everybody said you should become enlightened. So he was trying. But when he saw the deer in the woods, he realized that this is so beautiful, simple, graceful, not complicated. There's no crazy mind and confusing thoughts. When a deer wants to move, it moves. When it wants to jump, it jumps. It's not confused. It's not thinking. So keep it as an open contemplation for you. What would you like to be in your next life? And to open it even further, what would you like to experience in the next life? It is even more open contemplation, because if in this lifetime you say, I'm sick and tired of being this clumsy, gravity bound bag of flesh, then you might want to experience freedom of the air or freedom of the space. And don't be concerned of how, because the universes are multiple and the ways to experience what you truly want to experience are beyond your current mental comprehension. So next life is a big drive from what you want to experience now and then. It's a continuation from the now and then. Some will say, I want to experience peace of the mind. And then you will come to another society which is not mentally confused like this one. And everybody is pretty zen, simple life. That's possible. Or you will say you want to experience and travel around the galaxy. Very well, next life, you incarnate to a more advanced civilization, or maybe even this one will catch up by then. And you sit on a starship and have a window gazing of other planets, nebulas. So what truly counts in the afterlife primarily is what you want to experience. And what hinders a smooth transition is the biggest karmas. Like if you have hurt someone badly, intentionally, or out of your anger, most likely you'll have to repeat it and to solve it. The big karmas should be fixed now. Do whatever it takes to say sorry or to forgive so that you don't have to forcefully experience something unpleasant. Of course, all of you here today, you know that the journey of self-realization and completion of karmas is the way to go. But even the journey of self-realization, because people, first of all, read a lot of books, watch a lot of videos, and then they think they understand non-duality, which is illusion. The real non-duality is when you go through presence beyond energies. Then people open to awareness and contemplate the nature of awareness. And they think they're free. They are not. Because having access to awareness, it's great, of course. It's a very big achievement already. And simply contemplating more and more and more the nature of awareness doesn't necessarily, and most likely it will not mean that you are free from karma and that you will reside in awareness forever. In awareness as awareness. This is another big illusion. So self-realization is in many ways a simpler spiritual journey. Even if you realize this stage, and that stage, in a big sense, life takes not only your top achievements into consideration. Life as a whole takes not only your highest moments in consideration, it takes everything into consideration. Please understand this and hear this, because now thousands and hundreds of thousands are people becoming illusioned that if they realize non-duality, they're free. That's not the case. So I repeat that the universe, the laws of the universe, the supreme intelligence of all takes everything into consideration. And this is why people reincarnate. Because if in this lifetime, if you have realized awareness, it is, I would say, 35% chance that in last lifetime you also realize that. For some, it is truly a new thing. But for every third one of you, probably you did that in the last lifetime already. So it means that you caught up to the last incarnation. You just caught up to where you were before. Well, congrats. That's already good. So what will truly move you forward is exploring what is beyond that and beyond that and beyond that. And if one assumes that that's it, I found my angels and there's only angels that exist as the highest thing in the whole existence, then they put their limiting ceiling. And now they became angel readers, channelers, and guides for others. Or if someone found awareness and that's it, basically, they put a ceiling on top of it, and that's as far as I'm willing to go in this life. Do you get that? As soon as you declare that's it, or this is the highest, you put a ceiling and you say, that's as far as I will get in this lifetime. So next life, rest assured, you will have to break down that wall, that ceiling, and keep moving upwards. So self-realization brings one to experience of those higher peak experiences. And then life polishes you, life tests you. If you have realized presence, now live it. Live the way of presence. Test yourself in presence. And some of you have spent years and decades in presence. So this already is fully experienced. This is fully flavored, fully tasted, fully integrated, we may say. So life intelligence brings everything into consideration. You have your realization, then you live it. You test it. And there are certain traditions that only focus on self-realization and they don't bother about karma. Well, guess what? If you don't bother about it, it doesn't mean it's gone. You just nicely stacked it in the luggage, closed the door, and you carry on to what you're familiar with. But more complete spiritual development includes more integrated approach, working with the soul, with the spirit, with the karma, with clearing everything. So this way you not only have your peak experiences, not only you live and test what is normal to you right now, but you also work on those bottoms to clear the lowest. And generally in life, you will assume that you have already are done with it and you already transcended this karma. But karma is sneaky. Just because you move forward, it doesn't mean that it's fully resolved. I will give you a simple example. Maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, you hurt someone very badly. You didn't say sorry, your ego was in the way. Life moved on, and now you forgot about it. This person is in another country, your life is somewhere else. You moved on, but it doesn't mean it's resolved. So this simple example says that karma is still packed up, even though if your life moved on, even if you don't care about it anymore, but it's still there. So therefore, humbly going back, revisiting, and clearing karma is what truly resolves those lowest points. And when those lowest points are resolved, even though you have realized now awareness or whatever, and you're so excited about the nature of this and that, and then life is not important to you anymore because, you realized this and that. And what karma? Forget about it. It's all awareness. Everything is the self. But let me tell you, it's not that simple. It's not that exciting. It's not that foolish. Everything comes into equation at the end of the days. So therefore, aim for the highest experiences, openings, realizations. This is important, yes. Test your life according to these higher laws of living. In presence, you live a certain way. In awareness, you live a different certain way. Everything adds up, yes, but then things are a bit different. And don't forget your luggage. Don't forget to clean. Even if you still have to go back and do simple things, you still need to go back and do those simple things. The same in many movies, it shows a village person went to New York, got a good job, high profile job, and climbed the corporate ladder. And something happens back home. A person has to go back home, and the old troubles are still there. The old issues need to be resolved. So the victories of eternity are achieved by not only exploring eternity, realizing it more and more, but also familiarizing, living in that higher way. And even better insurance is to clean your karma, because that is an insurance. So these are simple laws, and these laws apply to the planetary karma, to the Pinda universal karma, to the Anda universal karma, Brahmanda karma, Par Brahmanda karma. Well, when you get beyond Par Brahmanda, then you don't have to worry about karma anymore. So I explained you in the most simple way, but now you can scale it up to higher regions of the universes. And the same law applies, the same principle applies in all these higher creations, universes, regions of existence. So, to summarize a little bit, a very important considerations is what motivates you to move forward, what interests you, and what experiences you seek. It's a very clear direction where you're going this lifetime and next one, but they have to be sincere. They're not shallow motivations, shallow interests. Because people say, oh, I want money, but why? What do you really want? Well, I want more money because I can travel. Well, and why do you want to travel? Well, I want to travel because I want to see this and that, or meet people. What kind of people? You have to be more and more specific, not what you want, but why you want that. Not even what interests you, but why that interests you. What's behind it? What's behind it? And what's behind that? So when you inquire why you want that and what's behind this interest or motivation, then you get to the bottom of it. And sometimes you may see that money is not an obstacle, that so many perceived obstacles are not obstacles. And then you realize it, well, maybe I can do it. I always thought that I need more of this or more of that, but actually I don't. And maybe actually there is an easy way to do it or to experience. But when you get to the very bottom of why and what's behind it, you get to the very bottom of that particular energy stream that you are aligned with. That is the root drive, the root motivation. That is the root direction.